Good day, Doom Tubers. Welcome back to the channel for another game discussion. Today we're talking about Gauntlet 7 Sorrows. Now, I don't actually have a physical copy of Gauntlet 7 Sorrows. I did play it on my modded Xbox, and I am still looking for a copy of 7 Sorrows. Now that I've actually beaten the game, I'm actually even more excited to find a copy because it is a spectacular game. I'm having this inner debate right now whether or not to call it a Diablo-style game or to call it Diablo Gauntlet style, because Gauntlet was first, on the NES and in the arcade, and the Sega Genesis. Gauntlet 4 was on Sega Genesis, which is actually apparently more like the arcade version of the game. But it's also got an RPG mode, but I don't have a copy of that either, but I have played a ROM of it, and it is on my wish list. I'm actually a huge Gauntlet fan. I love the two on the NES, and I have Gauntlet Legends on the Dreamcast, and I have Dark Legacy on the original Xbox, but I actually haven't played this one yet. For some reason, I decided to go ahead and play 7 Sorrows. And I think it's the latest one in the series. I think it's the last one to come out. I don't know if they'll ever come out with another one. But it is, it's not a blatant, like copy of Diablo, but it is really, really close to Diablo-style game. Just in the combat, I like the way the graphics look and everything, but that's a good thing. I mean, I'm not sure if they meant to be a lot like Diablo, or if Diablo was just trying to be like Gauntlet, because it's just the way it is. The main difference being, like with the enemies, the enemies come from those generators, like they're monster generators, and a lot of times in the levels you'll have to destroy all of the generators to get to the next area. So what you do in this game, you pick a class. There's elves, warrior, Valkyrie, or a wizard. I picked the warrior because that's just how I roll. And there is no like equipment customization or anything like that. You're stuck with the one weapon that whatever class you pick is. In my case, with the warrior, it is a axe, a giant axe, and you're stuck with this weapon. But throughout the levels, if you find them, there are weapon upgrades and armor upgrades that just, visibly, like, you see your character with more armor, and you see the weapon get more awesome, bigger and badasser, and is that a word, badasser? But you can't control how it looks or anything, or you can't control what you do. You just get the upgrade, and then all of a sudden it's bigger and stronger, and then all of a sudden you have more armor on, and you are stronger. You could take more hits, and but you do, as you level up, because it does have that RPG kind of choice in it, whereas you do gain levels, and for every level you get a stat point, and you can choose to allocate it to a few different things. There is the damage. You can up your damage, you can up your mana regain, or you can up your health. For me, I didn't spend many points on the mana regain because I didn't use mana attacks really. I had one that was kind of like a burst attack where it would just like destroy everything around you right away. But my mana would regain pretty slowly, but I didn't find it too troublesome because I didn't use it much. I did pump a lot into damage and a few into health. I really didn't find myself find myself needing health that badly, because I did play it on a low difficulty, and there was a lot of health drops, from a lot of the enemies, which in Gauntlet is just food. You just pick up food, and that's how you regain health. But there is a lot of money too. There's like chests you can unlock that you get gold, and in the chest there's also food, and sometimes it's death the Grim Reaper, but he's easy to take out with that big mana burst attack that I told you about, which actually used a kind of confusing button. Because if you're not familiar with the original Xbox controller, it has these white and black buttons that not a lot of games used, but in this case, yeah, I think it was black. I can't remember. I always ended up having to hit both because I could never remember which one it was. So I think it was black, and that would release that huge mana attack. But also, I mean, every button essentially did something. The left trigger was usually just used as like a shift button, like you'd hold down the left trigger and then hit one of the other face buttons to do like a specific attack. And then your B was the ranged attack, your A was the standard, cleave kind of attack, and then the B was like if you mashed on, X, if you mashed on X with enemies that had shields, like the first hit would make them, kind of fall back a little bit so their shield wasn't up anymore. And then the second one would be like an uppercut, so you would take out shielded enemies pretty easily. And then the Y was just a huge uppercut, so a very heavy uppercut attack. And then also, like the D-pad itself would have different special attacks assigned to it, and you had to unlock those. And that's what you use the gold for, because you collect all this gold, and you're like, okay, well, what do I buy with the gold if I can't buy weapons and I can't buy armor? Well, you buy abilities. You use this gold to unlock different abilities, and then different combo attacks, YX or XA or any one of the D-pad special attacks, all had to be purchased, all had to be unlocked, which was fine because there was more than enough gold if you spent time to look for it too. More than enough gold to suffice to buy all of the upgrades about maybe 2/3 through the game. Like, you really didn't, by the time you got about 2/3 through the game, you didn't even need to collect gold anymore because it didn't do anything. You had all the upgrades you needed. But I really enjoyed all the combat, with all the different combos and stuff. It was really awesome, and the enemies were cool. I mean, it really felt like a Gauntlet game still. I mean, I played Legends quite a bit, and because my Dreamcast memory card sucks, I always have to start over. But Legends seemed a little bit more complicated. This was pretty straightforward, and my one complaint with the game, with Seven Sorrows, is that it was way too short. Like, I played it a little bit a few weeks ago, maybe an hour total a few weeks ago, and then I played it for like two or 3 hours yesterday. Maybe not even that. Maybe just 2 hours. It's maybe between 2 and 3 hours. I really wasn't keeping track. And then I played for about 2 hours this morning, and I beat it, and with relative ease. Now, perhaps if I was on a higher difficulty, it would have taken a little bit longer, but it doesn't change the fact that the levels themselves were pretty short. I mean, it just all went really fast. And the Seven Sorrows represent the 7 bosses, basically. Actually, I take that back. The Seven Sorrows, your characters, the heroes, are the first sorrow, because they sacrificed you, they killed you, and so that was the king's first sorrow, his first mistake in life, and so the only one that he can undo is to bring you back to life, to fix the other 6. So that's what you are tasked with, is beating the other 6 bosses. Now, I will say the story is not horrible, but it's really not that great. It's not good or anything. It's and it only takes the story only gets told to you in little bitty, not even hardly cutscenes between levels. It's just a narrator and then a few pictures on the screen. But I mean, it's not, not annoying. It's not horrible. It's not like, oh my god, this is bad. It's more like just skip. I mean, just because it was just not necessary. Really, I mean, it was cool. I mean, to tie in, the reason for the game and blah blah blah. But skippable, very skippable, and it was available. You could skip the cutscenes if you wanted to, right away. So that was nice. I really liked the game, but of course, I really like action RPGs and Diablo-style games, so, of course I'm going to like it. My only hope now is that I can play Dark Legacy and have just as much fun with it when I do finally get to it. This one seems a little bit more cartoony, arcadey-ish, kind of like the older games like Legends and the old games, of course, which is fine, but I really liked Seven Sorrows. So, I don't know, that's about all I had to say. It's a short game with pretty straightforward everything, and really easy to pick up and play for a little bit and put it down if you want to, and it's just an awesome game. That's all I have to say about it. So, thanks for watching. Doom Waves out.